Definitely one of the worst games of the year, this Broncos Raiders game. Broncos somehow moved to freaking 8-2 despite not looking great in this game. Brock Bowers non-existent. Genty not used properly. Has a huge big run called back. They can't block. They hold when they do block well. Geno's playing with one leg, and it's just a debacle. This has to be one of the worst games of the year. 10-7. Waste of time. Unbelievably boring, and a huge kick to the nads from a fantasy perspective on many levels. The Fantasy Football Show reaction show, I guess venting show, complaining show begins now.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Don't call in yet, actually. Wrong button.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
I'll open the phone lines in just a little bit. Let's first just break down this game. It won't take long. 10-7. Nobody did well. Boom. Game recap concluded. Bo Nix, 1 TD. Now, granted, the INTs, the specifically that last one was not necessarily his fault. That first one was. The second one, it was a volleyball set by Franklin in the air. Now, granted, Bo wasn't throwing the most accurate passes, so it's not all on Franklin. Franklin had 5 receptions for 40 yards and a touchdown right here. Second wide receiver listed in the box score on the right side, bottom right of the screen. Dobbins, 18 for 77. He's just a mediocre player getting tons of volume. 4.3 a carry. Harvey, even though Harvey's yards per carry weren't great, Harvey would get it going if he started getting touches like that. And Dobbins, and I'm not wishing injury upon anybody. I'm not trying to infer that, but Dobbins gets injured twice in this game. Goes to the tent, hobbles to the sideline. We knew somehow, and I'm not saying I wanted him to be hurt. I mean, come on, I'm a human being. These thoughts are going through my head. Okay, he's a waste of space. He's holding the team back. It's not like I want Dobbins to get hurt. I just want Dobbins to be replaced by the younger, exciting, more explosive running back that got 3 touchdowns last week when they used him. And so Dobbins goes down twice, comes back with probably a more bionic knee. I imagine, this is what I said on the Patreon, I imagine they went inside the tent and they said, I don't know what you did to this knee. You twisted it all up, somehow cleaned it all up, did your own self-scope. This knee looks better than ever. And they send Dobbins back out on the field. And it's like Harvey can't catch a break. Not saying he wants injury. Not saying that. You know what I'm saying. I'm a human being. And I can't help these thoughts go through my head. It's not that I want anyone hurt. I just want JK to take a little vacation. I want Harvey to get the nod. I want JK to be looked at long enough that Harvey goes in, then JK's fine. His health is okay. But they put Harvey in and he explodes, and they say, let's hot hand this, and they keep RJ Harvey in. However it needs to unfold, that's what needed to unfold. And until that happens, this team has no explosiveness. Think about it from this perspective. Last week, and some of you guys are being a little too hard on Bo Nix, by the way. I think Bo Nix played like trash. But, Mahomes played like trash in week 9. A lot of players play like trash. Bo Nix has been a top 6-7 quarterback all year long. We're a little quick to react on a grand scale. Was Bo Nix trash tonight? Yes. Is Bo Nix a trash quarterback? Saying that in a blanket statement on the year makes it look like you aren't even watching football. So maybe rephrase how you're saying it. And Bo Nix is erratic, no doubt about it. He's got that Brett Favre meets ADHD, meets something else, meets Jackson Dart and Scattaboo hanging out on a Friday night. That's how it feels like when Bo is playing football. And he's usually, yes, roller coaster is another way to describe it. Roller coaster, and then by the fourth quarter, it's going up again. And he does some good things. And to be honest, this team's 8-2. Now, one of the better offensive lines, one of the better defensive lines in the league. That doesn't hurt. But they're 8-2. Bo's leading them to victories. And again, one of those INTs wasn't really Bo's fault. At the same time, Bo played like trash. Sean Payton play called like trash. The play calling was abysmal. The coaching was awful, putrid. Vomited on my sweater. Mom spaghetti. It was horrible. Raiders were even worse. Raiders are down 7-10, and they act like the game's out of hand. The way that they call plays, the way they coach the game, the way they substitute, the way they punt, the way they don't go for it, the way they don't do this or don't do that, the way they try and approach third down. It's like the Raiders are like, yeah, it was almost like you're watching a game that was 47-7, and the Raiders were going back out of the field with 7 points, and they're like, let's just kind of drain this clock. They're down. A touchdown wins it. A field goal ties it and sends the most boring game ever played into overtime so that they can tie it overtime. This was a bad game. This was a bad game overall. And Genty would have had a much better line had that big, long run not been called back. I mean, let's be frank on that. A lot of people quick to judge Genty. Oh, Genty, he's horrible. He's never going to do good. There was about, I don't want to say it's like a 30-yard run. This would be a 90 to 100-yard game and a touchdown. Much different story if he had not had that play called back. It was a huge, huge rumble. I want to say it was at least like a 30-yarder. Panic chamber, of course, all around. I mean, is Bo Nix right now, are you feeling confident about what Bo Nix dropped? No, you're not. You're not. But is Bo Nix been good all year? Yes, he has. Fantasy-wise, he's been dropping wads. He's been top 5, top 6 all year long. Franklin looks like he's getting into his bag. They're using him more. Harvey. So what I was saying was, think of it from this perspective, though. Broncos looked fine last week. Everyone's quick to say they're trash, they're a bad team, they're not exciting. The Broncos looked fine last week, but what was the variable? What variable was in play last week that wasn't in play this week? Playmaker. RJ Harvey, 3 touchdowns, hat trick. Hat trick Harvey. Hat trick Harvey made this team exciting. Hat trick Harvey unlocks the weaponry that is RJ Harvey. Hat trick Harvey unlocks the capability of having these weapons, i.e., Harvey or Franklin stretching the field or Bo Nix being accurate. It makes it all work and function. Harvey's explosive. Harvey's a playmaker. It's so frustrating that he doesn't get the damn ball. After a 3-touchdown hat trick Harvey performance last week, they don't do anything. They don't do anything. And it's because Harvey wasn't involved. What can you say? What can you do? Thursday nights, why don't we learn? We said it going in. Like, we know this is not smart to play Thursday players, but you get so excited about watching football. I said right before the game, why are we doing this to ourselves? The rule is never play a player because you get to watch them play, especially on Thursday night. And, you know, some of the questions we had all night long were Harvey, Hendy, Harvey. My inclination was leaning Hendy. Hendy over Harvey, Mununga over Harvey, and I will admit, at the end we got soft. At the end we crumbled. Right at the end of the show, we're like, let's just do it. Let's put Harvey in, and it didn't. It could have worked. It could have worked like last week. It worked, but this was a horrible game. Mixing Harvey not getting consistent work yet with Thursday was probably the dumbest recipe known to man. Like you think about these things, Thursday mixed with bad coaching is not a good idea. Thursday mixed with bad usage consistency or lack thereof is not a good idea when you mix it with the Thursday game. And again, back to Genty real quickly, then we'll get to Bowers, then we'll get to the super chats and phone calls. But Genty had a good day. Genty looked good. Genty had a 30-yard-ish run called back. Genty would have had a 90 or 100-yard game and a touchdown, and we'd be praising his name. Everything was bad but Genty. Now Genty has 60 and a touch. A salvageable day, by the way. Like, this ain't a horrible performance. 60 and a touch, and Genty gets 3 PPR points right there. That's not a bad day at the office. I mean, you get anything close to 14, 15 points, you had a pretty decent day. Could have had a better day. This team could have done better if they threw the damn ball to Harvey. And they tried a couple times. There was a dirt pass. There was another pass that was below, and he dropped it like Harvey would have had 5 or 6 receptions, even with everything that happened. Just by catching those 2 or 3 passes that were low. Is just I mean, I don't know. I don't, to be honest with you, I don't know what's in store for Harvey moving forward. I wish I knew how long it would take Harvey to grab the reins. I wish I could have told you that J.K. Dobbins, needed a little time off just to make sure he's good because he's holding the team back. No one wants him hurt. No one wants him hurt. They just want him evaluated long enough to get Harvey in a groove and then J.K. to be okay. And then all of a sudden, it's okay, it's just Harvey time. But JK's fine. No one wants him hurt. No one wants him hampered. But we want Harvey in the lineup. And it's Harvey luck. It's the luck of Harvey to literally have JK get injured twice. And he still comes back in and destroys Harvey's opportunity. Like, couldn't they check him out a little longer? Unbelievable. JK better than Harvey. Zach, I don't think you watch ball. Not tonight, you didn't, Zach. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that's not what you wanted to hear right now. I know I'm a little snippy, but saying JK's better than Harvey is not it, bro. Number one. You watch ball overall. Let me just back that up. I feel bad after I said it. I feel bad, Zach. I'm sorry. I'm a little worked up, Zach. But you maybe know ball. We're not paying attention. Before I take back what I'm saying, let me read Zach's response. But Zach, I don't think you watched ball lately. How's that? Hat-trick Harvey just grabbed 3 scores last week. He's electric. JK's mediocre, mundane JK. All right, let's get to these super chats. There's not much to go over on this game. Oh, Brock Bowers. Okay, so let me just say this. This is the last thing, and then we get straight to the super chats and phone calls and throwing up or whatever the hell we need to do to get over this performance. There's going to be some overreactions on Bowers. Guys, don't sit here and act like Bowers is trash. Don't act like Bowers isn't going to get his. That Bowers isn't the tight end one. That Bowers isn't out of this world totally abnormal alien that is going to drop wads all year long. Have some sporadic games. Players don't always explode. And Bowers did enough last week to account for this week. Let's just say that. And if you still can trade in your league, the amount of crazy reactions I'm seeing on Bowers are unbelievable. If you can still trade, the temperature of this thing is that Bowers is now attainable. He was untouchable walking into this game. Now all of a sudden, Fickle Freddy's everywhere. Like Bowers was trash. I don't think Bowers is. I don't think I can start Bowers next week. I wish I didn't ever trade for him. I wish I would have got rid of Bowers on the high. Not saying that would be the worst thing in the world if you buy low, sell high the right way, but the reactions on Bowers is crazy. It's crazy. It's madness. He was the best player on the planet last week. Now he's not even the tight end 3. I can see some of the messages in the chat already. He's not even the tight end 3, or he's barely the tight end 3. This guy was a top 5 overall player to those same people last week. Bowers is fine. If you can still trade, buy low. If you have him, hold him. Don't sell him off a bad game, especially with this panic temperature in the room. All right, let's get to these super chats and Sheesh with the $50 hauler. Appreciate you, Sheesh Coin, dropping the 50 wad on screen. $50. 50 wad from Sheesh Coin says 12 team, very big money, competitive. Lost JD5, Hunter, Terry. Damn. Team is now Flacco. Well, he's playing well. Darnold playing great too. Lamb, Downs, Bijan, Judkins, Chase, Brown, Dobbins, Harvey, Fannin. I have an offer for my Bijan for Bucky, White, and Tet, and a Dunze or Flowers. Not even close, bro. Not even remotely close. Not even close. One of the worst offers I've seen all day, minimum, maybe all week. One of the top 10 worst offers. I've seen a lot of bad ones. One of the 10 worst offers I've seen all week. Look, Bucky is unknown right now, and it's not necessarily the matchup you want. On top of the fact that, look, Rachaad White has been sporadic. And I don't think you're just protected into like running back one numbers. Now, anything could happen. Could Rashad White go out and have 100 yards and a touch, and you, man, I should have done this trade. Bijan get you 60 yards. The same thing we're talking about Bowers. Bad game for Bijan. Bijan was everyone's number one dynasty redraft. He was a top of the top. Over Gibbs, over everybody. It fluctuates. Now JSN's everybody's favorite. And JSN's always going to be really, really good. And I think even in a bad game, no one's going to discredit Bijan entirely. I'm not saying that. But the fact that we're even having these kind of conversations, I don't think you would entertain this whatsoever if we walked out of one of his bigger games and somebody offered you this. This is an absolute no. If you trade, let's say, for Bucky, you need to get a Nico. You need to get a player that can hang with Bijan, even if the Bucky side didn't work out at all and Bucky got abducted by aliens and never came back. You would need to have a player that could at least hang. I'm not saying you expect Nico to hang with Bijan, but he can see him. He doesn't need binoculars to see him. He can reach out and say, hey, I'll have a cup of coffee with you this week. He could be a top 12 player. You need that kind of player with Bucky to trade Bijan, period. End of story. Not even close. Thank you for the $50 hauler. I'm not opposed to trading him, but that is not it. $20 hauler from Ron.
Super chat.
Lamar, Bijan, Dowdle. Love the team so far. Henderson, Vidal, Manungai, Puka, Igbuka, BTJ, Diggs, Warren, Kincaid, Kelsey, Gadsden, Hunter. Should I drop any in mind for them? Gadsden for sure. And then you're trying to trade Warren, Kincaid, Gadsden. I mean, you're trying to I'd try and do two different trades, BTJ and Gadsden or BTJ and Kincaid, and then Manungai or Hall, probably Hall and the other one, and do a two for two or 2 for 1 in both those cases. Absolutely, bro. Then go to the wire and pick up more people because you're doing a 2 for 1 in both those cases. It's easy to trade Kincaid, and honestly, you got to start Gadsden and trade Warren and Kincaid if you can't trade Gadsden. Like, people are like, he's just on waivers and they don't like him for whatever weird reason. Then go the uncomfortable route, which is to get more from Warren. Like the team, the drop would be to go get Gadsden. The drop would be, damn. I mean, this is why he's available, right? You really have no other play. This is your roster. You guys have no other players than these players right here. Should I drop any of mine? How is this all that you have? There's no way you don't have a bigger bench than this, bro. There's just no way. I can't imagine. You don't have backup quarterbacks. You don't have any bench at all. This is wild. This must be like a best ball format or something. Redraft best ball format. I don't know. I guess I would. Kelsey, Gadsden, Hunter. You got to get Gadsden. I'd probably say you're dropping. Jeez, bro. I mean, Diggs is your worst player. Vidal or Diggs. And then you just pick them back up after you make a 2 for 1 trade, which might be hard because their waiver wire obviously is full of great players, but I think you could maybe pull it off. At least one of those trades. Pick one, Jamo, Brees, Manungai. I'm probably going to go Brees Hall for safety. Manungai's higher risk, higher reward. I like Jamo, but not in that situation. My Pickens and Bucky for Derrick Henry and Nico. I'd take Derrick Henry and Nico and get rid of the unknowns with Bucky, but I certainly do love Bucky. Husseini, I'm sorry, bro. Genty is a monster. The refs love to kill the product of the game with the stupid holding calls and the explosive plays like Genty. I'm sorry. I'm assuming you didn't do well. You got the Franklin touchdown. You got the Bo Nix touchdown, but then you got 2 INTs. You didn't get. I'm sorry, Husseini. Maybe you still win this game, though. It might just be one of those weeks, Husseini. It might just be one of those weeks. Let's see. Here's another update. Sutton will sit on my bench forever because Nix wants to favor his Franklin, and Nix is the only relevant player because Sean Payton. Without Payton, he's just another Tyler Shuck. Okay, I'm done ranting. Sorry, Husseini. I know you had a bad game. God, he had a lot riding on a Thursday. Thursday games are so tough, Husseini. Oh, so I wanted to go to the chat to get you a chat, like a massive amount of people voting on your decision. And Thursday games always should have a -5. Like Bo Nix start off with -5 points. Genty should have started off with -5 points. Like that in your head when you're making the start bench decision. We always let it go though. We say this Thursday might be different, and it never is. It sometimes is, but very rarely. Does anyone know the starting QB on the Raiders? We don't know who it's going to be this week. Geno's out there with one leg, and who knows what that's going to look like. But if they could just take Geno Smith's hands and transplant them onto Pickett, then you might have a better quarterback. I don't know, but Pickett, who knows? Denny over Geno. Denny, Simi Valley loves Denny, loves him. I've never been angrier at a game. Bowers in every league, and this had nothing to do with Bowers. Yeah, Bowers, it wasn't Bowers' fault. You could say that Bowers lives in a volatile world, though, but he's certainly not somebody people should be like saying is done. Or is Mahomes and Monty for St. Brown in Superflex with 3 wide receivers okay? Mahomes and Monty. Mahomes and Monty are better than St. Brown because you're drafting Mahomes ahead of St. Brown in a Superflex. So Mahomes side by quite a bit, actually. Smitty, was that not the most disgusting Thursday night football game ever? It was. It was awful, bro. It was pathetic. Smitty must win game. Musgrave or Kincaid. Kincaid. I don't think, I mean, anything can happen, bro, but how could you question Kincaid right now and trust in Musgrave? I like Musgrave, but do I trust him right now over Kincaid? Hell no. Drop Jake Ferguson and or Debo for Vidal or Marks. No, you can't drop Fergie. I could drop Debo for Vidal. I could do that. I have Kincaid. I could do that. This one here, trade ideas using 2 of Jamo, Rome, Hendy. No one's trading for these guys, unfortunately. If I was to give you an idea, I would say, if you have like a tight end that's slightly below Bowers, you try and see if someone just get nudged in that direction. I mean, Hendy could earn value coming out of this game, but I think people are worried about him right now. So can you trade this for an Adams? Probably not. Can you trade this for a Javonte? Probably not. Can you trade this for a Ibuka? Probably not. Can you trade this for an MHJ? Maybe, but I like Rome and MHJ about the same. So you just got to try and use Hendy and Rome for Javonte, Jacobs, Adams, Buka, Nico. And if you can't get that, I don't include Rome. Or Rome and Jamo for one of those wide receivers. Try that. I just don't know that it's going to be very feasible, but you get to a point where it's like you just don't trade them, though. Don't just get rid of them for the highest bid. You either get something like that or you don't do it. Dart, Nico, Marks for Hurts, Rome in a vacuum. I would probably rather have Hurts and Rome very, very much in a vacuum over that other side. My Bucky, McBride, and Sharps for Bijan. I would take the Bijan side, given the unknowns to Bucky right now. It's just not a smart play to be banking on the Bucky situation when you can get out cleanly like that. Doesn't mean you don't go buying Bucky in other situations. I'm the biggest go buy Bucky low person you'll find right now, but I'm also the biggest trade out of him if you have him. 2 different worlds, 2 different angles, 2 different perspectives. Trade ideas using 2. Oh, I did that one. Appreciate you, my boy, for dropping that one. I'm so pissed off the Besh weak ass hold. Sorry, Ray. That was such a bad game. Need streaming QB and wide receiver. Not sure who at wide receiver. Mooney or Wilson. I go Mooney as long as he's healthy. Fields, Penix, Rodgers, McCarthy, Mariota. I'd probably go Brissett right now. Brissett or Penix, but I'd probably say Brissett. Chat, Brissett, Penix, or McCarthy. Let's vote on those 3. Brissett, Penix, McCarthy. Please vote on that one. Chase Brown, Ladd, and Pearsall for Saquon and Dunze. Saquon and Dunze by a lot, and I love Laddie boy, but that's an easy call. She's coin with a $50 hauler brings him to a total of 100, which means everybody's pretty.
Smitty, everybody's pretty.
Man, what a bad game. 12 team. Lost 85. Okay. Have no wide receivers. I have Bijan, Chase Brown, Judkins, Dobbins, Harvey. My wide receivers are Lamb and Downs. With a dry waiver wire. Do I trade Bijan for JSN? Woo! Or try Judkins for McConkey? Judkins for Lab McConkey. Bro, we love Lab McConkey, and Judkins is miles above him. Sheesh, I feel like you're valuing some of your boys a little low. Judkins, I wouldn't and you won't find anybody higher on Lab McConkey, and I wouldn't trade 2 Lab McConkeys for Judkins. He's a top 14 overall player right now. Lab McConkey is a risky wide receiver 3 that we love more than the average bear. And we think he could really be a league-winning wide receiver 3. But you're talking about a running back 1 versus a wide receiver 3. It ain't even close, bro. Bijan for JSN. I think everyone's okay with this 1-for-1. But I would probably say, looking at the squad, you're kind of in a situation where it's just balancing the ship a little differently. The weight of everything toward the front and the back. You know, if you could start all 3 of these running backs, then right now it kind of doesn't matter. You know, I like Downs enough that I'm okay starting him with that loaded running back room. Chase Brown, Bijan, and Judkins. I don't know. If it was me, I would trade, let's say, Dobbins for just somebody I like a little more than Dobbins, you know, running back if they've got one, to do this trade. Even if it was Monty or something along those lines, you know, a Hendy-like player. I don't think I want to do Bijan for JSN personally, but it's really close. Really close. I just still value Bijan more. I think you should be getting a little bit more. Chat, would you weigh in on this, Bijan or JSN, especially given the context of his team? I don't think it's like something to where you had a surplus. You have a good wide receiver 1 still, even without getting JSN. So it's not like you're starving a wide receiver and you're overloaded at RB. It's really balanced. Just a little heavy running back. But if you make the trade, then you're heavy wide receiver and less heavy running back. It's just a shift. Would you trade JSN for Bijan? Is that the same mother freaking offer? Right here, back to back. Unbelievable. Wow, we're getting JSN. I'm surprised. I'm not mad. Don't think you guys are wrong. But I'm surprised we're getting a wave of JSN over Bijan votes. Wow, it's like 90% JSN so far off of about 8 votes. I can't believe. I'm not trying to sway it. I just can't believe we're not valuing Bijan. Wow. Wow. We'll see where this is. Let's re-vote next week. We'll see where this goes. Love JSN. I think he's in the top 5 or 6 overall for sure. Top 5 overall. Bijan's still my number 1 or 2 overall pick, but they're both top 5. It's crazy, man. I don't know. It's wild to me. It's even wilder. You both have to ask the same question. Thank you for the super chat. You got the answer from the chat. My answer is Bijan, but context matters too for that second question, depending on your team. Traded Dimes and Franklin for Dart and Worthy. Probably rather have Dart and Worthy right now. It's pretty even, actually, Brendo. I think it's pretty even. I'll probably lean toward the Worthy side just by a hair. $20 hauler from my boy Egoats. Egoats, appreciate you dropping the wad. 12-man, 5-4. Danny Dimes, wide receivers, Lamb, Rice, Buka, Adams. I hope we can start all 4. If you can't, maybe we trade Adams. JT, Hampton, Stevenson, Tootin, DeMarcado. Love the squad. I traded Lamb and Allen and Stevenson for Dart, Javonte, and Higgins. Oh, man, I love your team, bro. Lamb, Keenan Allen. Okay, Lamb, Keenan Allen, and Stevenson for Dart, Javonte Williams, and Higgins. I don't think I would have done that, Egoats. I would have kept lamb chops, but I don't hate it. Higgins obviously balled out, but you're buying him off of value you're not going to get. You know what I mean? You're chasing points there. Javonte had a bad game. I think he bounces back, but he's definitely cheaper right now than he should be. I'm not doing this trade. I'd rather have lamb chops, especially the way your team is built. Your receivers are off the hook. Interested in Javonte, but I feel like you maybe could have done it a different way, but Adams for Javonte, like, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't have done it. But it's still, you still got an amazing team, and you still could score. You could still score the same exact amount of points per week with that exact same different team. Shelly with a 10 gifted membership. Shelly, appreciate you dropping 10 gifted memberships.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Thank you, Shelly. Appreciate you. My McBride for Judkins. I'd rather have Judkins. Fannin on the bench. Yeah, I'd rather have Judkins. I think that's a solid move. I like both of them, though. Obviously, McBride's a boss. You got Brissett in there. The Brisket's going to get him the ball more. Traded my Vidal and Sharps for Olave without consulting you first, maybe. That's okay. But I think it could go either way. I think Olave's probably safer, but Vidal's got more upside, but a little more risk. I think Vidal does bounce back. But I think they're both about equal. And I think got Bijan, Kyren, and Hendy. My wide receivers have been staying hurt. Bijan, Kyren, Henry. I think it's okay. I don't think it's good or bad. I think it's about even. Not to say that I don't, see the pros and cons of both sides. I just think that it's a decent trade. Would you trade Tet and Jalen Warren for Breece? I would take the chance on Breece Hall. Yes, I would. Breece Hall has been playing fantastic football. He's just in a volatile spot, but I'm still going to trust him. This one here, 10-man, 5-4 QB, Purdy, Gibbs, Achane, Dowdle. Love those running backs. Buka, Rice, Ladd. This team's phenomenal. Warren, benches, Vidal, Rice on a bye. Brissett lost JD5. Brissett's fantastic too. Yeah, put Brissett in the lineup. Obviously, I don't know why Purdy's sitting in there as a placeholder. He doesn't deserve it. It's Brissett. Brissett's the ticket. Do it live. I'd probably take Kyler off. I'd probably take Kyler at some point, and you don't have to do it now because he's got 48 weeks. But at some point, bring him back in the saddle. Not now, unless you can put him on an IR. And then just have him there on IR, if you can do that, so that you have a guaranteed quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I love Kyler. I'm saying that guarantees you a quarterback, but don't do it yet. Once we're getting closer and closer. Rice. I'm assuming you can start all three running backs. I'm assuming you can start Buka, Rice. And yeah, if you can start all three running backs through a flex, I don't touch this team. Christian, that is as an unbelievable team. I don't even look at this team. Even with Brissett, I'm okay with it. I maybe trade Vidal if you can go to the Hampton owner and get a quarterback upgrade. But that's it. I don't even think I want to trade a single player you have. It's a phenomenal team, bro. Phenomenal team. Very excited. I would be very excited to own that team. Let me get this question back. I traded Lamb for Kyren and Metcalf. Take a lap. I traded Lamb for Kyren and Metcalf. I wouldn't say take a lap, but I wouldn't have done it. But is it lap worthy? No, but not what I would have done. Team is just close. It's close, but team is Stafford, Daniel Jones, Jacobs, Kyren, Jefferson, JSN, Garrett Wilson, Judkins, Pittman, Tracy. Any improvements? I'm probably going to say to keep JJ, JSN, Judkins. Keep Judkins, JSN, Jefferson, Kyren. I keep this whole team. It's a good team, bro. I like it. You're not going to trade Kyren or Jacobs high enough to even move them. You could try Diggs and Kyren for just a little Achane, bump, but you're not going to probably get it. You could try for Gibbs and Bijan off bad games, but people aren't fickle. JT, aren't that fickle. People are fickle, but not that fickle. Maybe try. You never know. But I don't think I'm moving much. Like Garrett Wilson and Jacobs or Garrett Wilson and Kyren for one of those top 3 or 4 running backs, if you could pull it off. If not, would I maybe get rid of Garrett Wilson and Diggs for JJ? Garrett Wilson and Diggs for a wide receiver upgrade? Diggs and Jacobs for a potential Jacobs and going like an Achane, something like that. Maybe. Pittman, you can throw Pittman in there. Pittman and Jacobs for a running back upgrade. Yeah, you can still do stuff. I don't know why I'm limiting it to no trading. You could definitely I think Pittman's your ticket, though. Pittman might be your ticket. Husseini with a $20 hauler. Ray with a $20 hauler. Back-to-back 20s from both you monsters. Appreciate you so much. And Cam dropping the $6.99. I'll put right there. I think we're all caught up on the supers being on screen at least. $20 haulers.
Alert. Super chat alert.
My boy's doing it live here. Husseini says, all right, Smitty, so I played Nick, Sutton, Genty already. I'm projected for 102 points. Now my opponent's projected for 131. He has CMC JT. I'm sorry, bro. I think I'm cooked. I got Judkins lad. Yeah, but what were your options? You know what I mean? Like, you were trying to swing from behind anyway. But keep trying, bro. You never know if you'll tie, you know, for a playoff seed and get in somehow. Like, keep fighting the good fight. I mean, you've been battling it. I'm proud of you, Husseini, for beating the #1 team last week. That was a surprise. Who knows if he has a bunch of duds dropped this week. Keep fighting the good fight. That's just your worst league. You got another amazing league, right? Yeah, you got another team that's balling, right? Hey, Smitty, 10-man Superflex, PPR, Lamar, Caleb, JD5, Garrett Wilson, Sutton, Addison. Scary Terry, okay. Would you trade Lamar, Debo, and Marks for Flacco and Bijan? Lamar, Debo, and Marks for... I'd take Flacco and Bijan. I wouldn't even hesitate. Oh, wait, Superflex. Sorry. I keep by the time I get through the message and I forget I'm reading Superflex. Superflex. You know, if it's redraft, is it Dynasty, 10-man Superflex, PPR? I don't see Dynasty anywhere. If it's redraft, I might bank on Flacco and Bijan. I love Lamar, but if this is Superflex, redraft. Chad, am I off kilter here? If it's redraft Superflex, are we banking on Flacco, Bijan? Debo and Marks are really not a factor here. Lamar, Superflex, or Flacco, Bijan. Give me Flacco, Bijan. I roll the dice. I mean, you got JD5 eventually probably coming back at some point this year. He may not, but you got Caleb, who I don't love, but that's, I mean, look, worst case scenario, isn't Bijan going to hang with Lamar? You know, anyway, in the Superflex spot, and you have Caleb there. I think I'd take a bet on Flacco. I would never do this in Dynasty. I would never do this in Dynasty, but of course, I think I'm thinking about it. 6-3, I'd do it. 6-3, 10-man PPR. Josh Allen, Rico, ETN, Tootin, Woody, Buka, Worthy, T, Zay, Hunter, Watson, Kincaid, fan, and any moves. Love Rico, Josh Allen. Not touching that. I love JSN Tootin, to be honest with you. I don't know that you're going to get what you want in a trade anyway, so I think you hold it. Buka, Worthy, T. I don't think there's much to move here. I would contemplate Kincaid, trust in Fannin, although he's banged up right now, but I still, long-term on the season, would entertain it. And you don't know what the injury is. What if he's out for the year or something? But I would still contemplate trading Kincaid on the high, like Kincaid and Worthy, Kincaid and T, Kincaid and Mason. Just try and get that Javonte, that Jacobs, that Adams, that Buka cheap, or Garrett Wilson cheap. Someone along those lines. Henry's still a little cheaper than he should be. Those are all possibilities. Kincaid can get you a little more than you think in a trade. Kincaid's been balling out, bro. And you mix him with one of those other players that I just mentioned, and I think you can definitely trade up into, even if you had to go like Javonte Pickens for that combo, you could do a Kincaid and player for Pickens and Javonte, or Adams and Javonte, or Jacobs and Pickens, or Lad McConkey and Javonte, something like that. Had Denver D and Knicks best game ever. How was Canes? Sorry, Mahmood, about the game, bro. There's only so many things that your boy can control, but what I can control is when and where I get Canes, and I did get Canes last night. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Canes is pretty damn good. What a disaster of a game. What a disaster of a game.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Down to the bentonprint.com phone line. bentonprint.com. Benton Print, by the way, is the parent company of the Addict.shop, so they're good people. We trust them. They've been with us forever, you know. They've been a part of the Fantasy Football Show little family for a while, you know. 781, you're live. What's your name and where are you calling from? Oh, hold on, 781. We might need to activate the speaker. Oh, no, you know what? Hold on. Hold on, 781. I think I just need to switch back to not having the speaker because I did restart everything. Okay, 781. 1 second. Just mute yourself real quickly. 618. Mute yourself. I'll be right with you. Please mute yourself. All right. Let's see here. 781. You're live. Go ahead, 781.
Hey, Smitty, what's going on? So it's Bill from Massachusetts, but I was wondering, you've steered me right a couple times on some start-sit questions, including this exact question a few weeks ago when they played each other. So QB-wise, I have Dart and I have Hurts, and I was wondering who you think I should play this week.
I don't know how. I mean, anything can happen. Dart's got a nice matchup, bro. He could be considered, I think, general consensus-wise, top 6, 7 on the week. But you just can't sit Hurts, bro. I mean, he's a stud. You always start your studs. It doesn't matter if it's a matchup. He's definitely a quarterback that in bad passing matchups, good passing, like he just can score a bunch of different ways. And he's playing very well. Credit where credit's due. He played like trash for a big part of the year, and even at the end of the year last year. But he's playing really good right now. I just don't know how you'd even consider sitting Hurts. Yeah, I think you think you're getting too cute looking at it all. But anything can happen, so trust your gut. I mean, bro, someone could have come up to me and said, "Do I start Genty or DeMarcado?" And I would have laughed in their face. And maybe, and Genty still did well, but DeMarcado could outscore him. I mean, anything can happen, but 9 times out of 10, you sit Hurts, you're going to be sitting there going, why did I even draft him? What am I even doing? What am I even doing with my life? Why would I draft Hurts and then not use him?
Yeah, no, my gut was telling me Hurts, and last time when they played each other, Eagles-Giants, you told me to play Hurts. I rolled with him, and he was by far better. Dart, though, has been pretty good, and the matchup is pretty good. But I was a little – I think there might be some weather coming in Chicago. I know we don't want to overrate that, but I think there might be a little bit of weather in Chicago this weekend. So that even though the matchup's pretty good, I was leaning Hurts, but I had to confirm with you.
All right.
All right. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
What can I ask you one last quick little question? I'm really desperate at receiver this week. Do you think with Tucker Kraft being out that there's any chance that maybe Golden could have an okay week this week? Maybe they get like a little more receiver centric with the offense, or I know Golden's on the injury report, but
I mean, at any point, Golden, because of his speed, bro, could have a 90-yard touchdown reception. You know, I imagine when Golden does have that big touchdown, he's gonna have 2 or 3 receptions. He'll have 2 or 3 receptions on 2 or 3 targets, have 95 and a touch or 110 and a touch, and everybody's gonna be like, Golden's back, or he's finally arrived. But you just predicting when that game's gonna happen, he's still very much a disappointment. He still runs wrong routes. He still just looks completely raw as a rookie, barely utilized. They don't trust him at all. Is there a chance? I mean, losing a tight end may have them run more 3 wide receiver sets, if that's what you're hinting at, potentially. But it's not like you're putting in, you know, Golden for at the tight end spot, like in replacement. But yeah, it might make them run a couple more 3 wide receiver sets or put him on the field a couple more times. But I don't know, man. I just don't think the Packers looked really bad last week. I don't know what's in store for them moving forward. I feel like they're kind of paper tigers. They're kind of like look, I'm an unbiased person. They remind me a lot of the Falcons. The Falcons are paper tigers. They can be amazing when they're at home, but they can also look like the Broncos look tonight. You know, the Broncos were lucky they faced the Raiders tonight, because the Broncos, the way they played, would have lost to any other team in the National Football League. But the way that they look tonight is how the Falcons can look. Don't use their weapons. They're not even good play calling. The quarterback messes it all up when the quarterback can look good one game and then not the next game. But I don't know, bro. Golden's not someone I'm trusting. But like, the greater question is, who are you sitting for Golden? Who is the option? Who is the alternate?
So I'm like really desperate this week. I got Rashee Rice on bye. And
I'd start Rice over
I'm playing Roman. Yeah,
You
right.
never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Rice could have some spillover from last week they didn't account for, and they just stick it in the column. There's 2 points.
Yeah.
All right, who else you got? Rice and who?
So it's a 3-receiver league. I'm going to be playing a Dunze this week, but BTJ he hasn't been good, but
Okay, let's say he's out.
missed 2 practices. So I have Parker Washington if
Parker.
I'm desperate there. I mean, but
Yeah,
I
he's
still need to play someone else.
He's way better
He's
than
staying in the slot.
Yeah,
They're keeping him in the slot, they said. So.
yeah. I'm not.
But I
I'm-
still need to play another guy. So like that's the free
Okay,
agent
well,
pickings are
my
so slim.
back to my question: who is the guy that we're talking about versus Golden? If you don't have an answer to that, then why are you asking the question? You know what I mean?
No, so it's just like Golden versus like Cedric Tillman or
Okay, well that's
like-
that's what I've been waiting for. I need the name. Okay, so
Yeah, no,
Tillman. I don't know if Tillman even playing.
I don't know. I think he's going to be playing, but
I think he's
the
injured.
options
But
are- No,
mean-
he's on IR.
He had a full practice. Full practice Wednesday.
hit me with a couple other names that are on waivers that we could potentially grab for you right now. I just hit me. I need something to go off. Otherwise, I
It's
can't.
ugly.
I can't condone a player that I don't know is going to play Tillman or not. I don't know. Go ahead.
It's ugly. I mean, Zacchaeus, Jalen Lane, Kyle Williams, like Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson's better.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, number one, Brissett's been targeting him, and that's a commonality. There's definitely a correlation of Wilson being used, I think. Okay, so
Yeah.
right now I lean Wilson a little more than Golden. Although Golden, like I said, Golden could have one huge touchdown design play that he connects on, and he is like the way I picture it is Franklin's been getting more and more work lately, and he deserves to now be called potentially at least sharing the wide receiver 1 role, but maybe the new wide receiver 1 in Denver. But as he was starting to get unleashed, he was only getting, if I remember correctly, like 2 and 3 targets. And so it wasn't like he was you would say maximizing his opportunities, but could you count on it? Now he's getting more and more work, so Franklin can be counted on. The way I look at Golden is he's going to get 2 or 3 targets, and he either pops or he doesn't. He does nothing, or he gets you that touchdown. So I'd say Wilson. All right, I got to run, bro. Call back if you got another question, but I have to.
I appreciate it, man.
move along
Appreciate your help. Have a good one.
All right. Let's see here. Who else is? Let me go to the 618 caller. You're live.
Hey, Smitty. I traded Rico Dowdle and Jake Ferguson for Egbuka before the Green Bay game, and I've been having hell of regret ever since. And I was wondering what your thoughts were for JT for Rico Dowdle and CD Lamb.
Rico Dowdle, JT, and Rico for CD Lamb. Let me hold on 1 second. Let me merge. I don't know what's. I don't know what. Travis, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I don't know why I'm getting. Are you still there? 618. I don't think he's there anymore. I'll answer his question though. The phone line's having some problems right now, so I'm gonna hang tight right here. I'll open the phone lines here again in a second, guys, if I can restart them. But I'm gonna leave them right there. Travis is on the line. My answer was CD. What do you say, Travis? You said CD Lamb and Rico Dowdle, or no? What do you say?
I go back and Rico and CD for JT.
For JT, Rico and CD. I'd rather have Rico and CD by a lot, by quite. Let me see if I can merge this call now. Hold on a second, Travis. All right, let's see if this will work. Okay, I think it did. 1 second, caller. Hold on 1 second. Let me just merge this guy in. Mute yourself, 928. I'll be right with you, okay? Just please mute. 618. I think we would take Rico by a mile, bro. Rico and CD Lamb for JT. I love JT, but man, that's a steal.
Would you throw in Juwan Jennings too, to make that happen?
Not my little Juwan. Third and Juwan? Yes, of course I would throw in Jennings. I would prefer you throw in Jennings.
Okay.
Yeah, do it live, bro. That's awesome.
All right.
I mean, look, it
Thank you.
said letting JT go, but like could Rico hang with JT? I'm not saying beat him out. I'm just saying if I said your life's on the line and you have to have Rico outscore JT, are you toast or are you just kind of like you're down bad? You're probably just down bad. But it's arguable enough. They're in the same room. Maybe one's at the bottom. Maybe Rico's at the bottom of that tier, but Rico's climbed into that tier. And is it possible he gets nudged out? Maybe he falls apart. It's certainly in the cards, but I would definitely lean toward right now as this being the D'Angelo Williams of the 2025 season. And if anybody played fantasy football back when D'Angelo Williams was a monster, he was a monster for 1 year, and it's just the way it is. And sometimes this happens. Rico's 27 years old, will be 28 next year. I'm not going to necessarily count him out next year, but I don't think I'd draft him like in the top 5 to 10 overall or anything. But right now, I treat him like a top 5 to 10 overall player, and I will continue to until the season ends. Now, I'm crafty about it, like this move, getting Lamb and Rico for JT. That is crafty. That is being quiet on the hush about whether I like Rico nearly as much. Fantastic trade.
Last comment. Do you think it's worth let's say I get some pushback for Jennings, do you think it's worth adding Sutton or Franklin to make that happen?
I certainly wouldn't let Frank. I mean, this is weird because I do think Franklin might be the one, but I still have hope for Sutton, and I still have some trade. I feel like the trade value for Sutton still might be there, but the trade deadline's approaching anyway. I don't think I'd let Franklin ruin this trade. I think I could send Franklin instead. But
okay,
I mean, look at what Franklin did tonight. He was really, really good, and they target him a lot. But he does feel like he's probably going to be a 40 to 50 yard guy and a touchdown every couple games. Maybe 60 to 70 yards in games where he doesn't score. I'm not saying there isn't a world where he totally turns into a marvel. He could, but I still think they're going to do some rotating around, and I don't know that Franklin is going to dominate every single week over Sutton and the entire arsenal of weaponry that Bo Nix does seem to cycle through. I definitely would still do this. That's not going to hold me back.
All right, thank you.
All right, later. Travis, try calling back in. I'm sorry. As soon as I tried to hang up, he hung up, and I hit your button instead. Dominic, you're live. Go ahead real quickly, pal. 928.
Oh, thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Got a question got Nico Collins, Wilson, Smith, and Weddle. Which three are you starting?
Nico Collins, Garrett Wilson, and who?
Smith and Waddle.
Okay, hold on one second. Oh, sorry, Travis. Let me just put you back in here. When you say Smith, you mean Devontae Smith, or are you talking about Jackson Smith and Jigba, just to be clear?
Devontae Smith,
okay.
Full PPR.
And then
two receiver, one
Waddle, right?
Yep.
All right. Nico, Wilson, Smith, and Waddle. I would probably say Nico, without a hesitation, is my number one, regardless of how he's played, regardless of his quarterback situation. I still believe in him enough. I mean, everybody else has questions too. I would say Garrett Wilson's my number two, and it really comes down to the Waddle maker and Smith. If I could have everybody in the chat vote on these two wide receivers, Waddle or Smith, please put a vote in the chat. Let's have the chat come to a groupthink. I think I go Waddle. I think I go Waddle. I don't know though. Over.
Yeah, I'm thinking that as well. Smith has been outperforming AJ Brown though, so.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's definitely a tough call. Travis, do you have any thoughts on Waddle versus Devontae?
I lean Waddle just barely, but he's because I think Barkley's going to start running like crazy.
Yeah.
Because they haven't used him a lot.
Gonna feed him. At least like Waddle's the number
Yeah.
one. Smith is
Right. That's my
AJB's
thought.
back.
The guaranteed one.
Yeah, AJB's back this week. Yeah, I'll go.
You could argue me out of it just because he's so hot.
Yeah.
Smith is so hot. But
Can you still make a trade?
Waddle is who I would do.
Can you still make a trade? Can you trade Smith on the high? Because as soon as he has a really bad game, he's done. No one's going to trade for him. Is there a trade deadline passed, or what are we doing? Hello? Dominic, hello?
Oh, trade deadline. Nope. I mean, I've had Smith since I just got Waddle last week for a trade.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Is the trade deadline passed?
No, mine's the
Okay.
26th.
So let's try and move Devontae Smith, maybe. What running backs do you have?
I have B. Hall, Jay Warren starting. I also have ETN on the bench this week.
Okay, so B. Hall or Jalen Warren with Devontae Smith for one big monster. If you can't afford to go wide receiver, because then that depletes your running backs. I'm not necessarily seeing the big picture for your team. JJ, Buka, freaking. I mean, you just try. Like, I'm not saying Devontae Smith
big
to
weeks
walk.
too.
What?
Hall and Smith are both coming off a big week, so
Yeah.
you could get that done.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's guaranteed to get you a Buka, a Rice, a Nico, a JJ, but you try. You try, and if you can't,
I have Nico.
it doesn't. You know what I'm talking about, bro. Focus on the bigger picture here. Trying to slow a train down. This train's moving forward. London's included in that.
Would you be starting Hall and Warren over ETN this week?
Hall and Warren over ETN. That is a tough call. I mean, not Warren.
He ends against the Texans. Texans are tough.
Yeah.
Warren's against the Chargers. They're decent.
I'd probably go Hall.
Yeah. Okay.
Travis, are you going Hall over ETN then?
Probably. Hall's against Cleveland, but ETN seems to struggle against those tough defenses lately. I don't know.
He's against the Texans, though.
Yeah, that's tough defense, so it's gonna be tough. I think. I think he's gonna be the one waddling on game day. I don't know. I'd probably sit ETN if you got Breece Hall, and you could try and trade ETN and one of those wide receivers or Waddle or Smith. Trade Waddle or Smith, whichever one you can get the most value from. And if it requires ETN or if it requires Hall or requires Jalen Warren, if it requires ETN and Jalen Warren, and you're getting a running back in this move and not just a wide receiver, then I do that. But all right, get to work. You got this.
All right, thank you.
Later. What a bad game. It was a putrid game. I do think, Travis, before I let you give me your thoughts, I do think people are extra hard on Bo Nix when he's delivered all year long. I know he's been up and down like a roller coaster, but how are you through 9 weeks of football, a top 5-6 quarterback, and you get treated like you're nothing after one bad game? And then second of all, the Bowers freakouts are unwarranted. They're understandable, and it requires a little bit of okay, maybe Bowers won't be what he was last week every week because there'll be a down game or two. But I think for people to be like, he's already moved down to everyone's number 3 tight end. I'm looking at the chat earlier. It's crazy. And Genty, yeah, the volatility and the way they use him is frustrating, but he still had, a 14, 15-point game on the worst game script they'll probably have. So, I don't know. I'm not sure. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, with Genty specifically, like he was RB 12 or 13 coming into the week. And I think you can safely pencil him in for that, 10 to 15 range rest of the year. And, if you get more, that's a bonus. But, he's not a top 5 running back because of his situation, but he's still a good running back. It seems like he gets a little bit underrated at this point because the expectations were so high. But I'd still go trade for him as an RB, as a high RB2. And then I think the other thing with this week is it's just like a good reminder of like with fantasy, you have to do your best at what you can control. You can't control what the coaches do. You can't control, when players play poorly. And take advantage of people overreacting and go trade for those players. That night even. Because there's people who would sell Bo Nix, who would sell Genty for nothing right now. Because
I still think it's important. Yeah, definitely a good take on it. I think it's also important not to overthink too, because you have people trying to sit Jalen Hurts, because they're thinking, well, I got to control this stuff. But so it's a good give and a take. It's you gotta make sure you're not overdoing it or getting cute. Let me hit these super chats real quick. Deet with the $20 hauler. Deet,
alert.
appreciate you.
Super chat alert.
Deet said, but yes, we got a buy low on Genty, Bowers. They're very good buy lows. I got offered Mahomes, Monty, Addison for JT. Mahomes, Monty, Addison for JT. Still have Dak, Hall. I assume this is a 1 QB because you would have said Superflex, because people in Superflex leagues are very particular to make sure that they list that because they know the impact of the advice. So I'm going to assume it's 1 QB. People in 1 QB that don't play Superflex don't even think to mention it. So that's why I'm going to assume this. And the fact that you said, do I take this and run means that it's not Superflex. The answer is JT. There's just not even a hesitation in my mind, especially when you fall back down to Dak. It's a no-brainer. Dak, is he consistent? No, but he's good. He's got a lot of weapons. They're gonna figure it out. They improved their defense quite a bit. Prayers up. Also, had a loss today, but I think this is a no-brainer. It's no hesitation in my mind. Not a single bit of hesitation in my mind. Fields or Penix in Europe this weekend? Probably still Penix Jr. I don't know that I trust Fields right now. If anybody has a different opinion in the chat, Fields or Penix, please drop it. Trade ETN and Pitts or Fannin for Bowers. Trade ETN and Pitts for Fannin for Bowers. In a heartbeat. In a millisecond. If anything, Rambo, I think you're coming up with this idea thinking that the Bowers owner is going to be lower on Bowers coming off this game than they are, because I'd slam the door on anybody that knocked on my door asking for this. I'd say, what kind of you think I am?
Up too now.
So if you get that, Rambo, I'm proud of you. That would be amazing, and I'd give up whichever tight end gets it done. 12 team. I have Rico Hubbard got dropped. I have Rico, Hubbard got dropped. Must add. I think so, Thomas, in a vacuum without knowing details. Yes. Which side, London, ETN, or Barkley Flowers? Man, I think London, ETN. ETN's got a tough matchup, though. Like, he could come out of this game looking like trash, and then you're like, damn it, why'd I do this? I'll say this. I think Barkley outscores London this week, and I think Barkley's the best side of this trade this week. So part of me is tempted to tell you Barkley's side because I know it's going to score more points this week, and I think it's going to potentially be a lot better than London ETN. And I think Flowers does something too. I'm just going to say Barkley Flowers. I'm going to say Barkley Flowers. I think London and ETN could be very lucrative, but ETN's got to get through this week against Houston, hold on to the job, stay healthy, get the same workload. I'm just going to take Barkley. Fresh off the bye week. Flowers, I think, rebounds a little bit going forward. It's a kind of a tough call. I like ETN, but ETN, if you had Tootin in that, or you had Tootin on your roster already, I think maybe we re-asked the question. And we, I'm not saying you have to do a super chat necessarily. Maybe I'll see it or Travis will see it. But if you don't have Tootin, then you don't have to even re-ask it. I'm just going to say Barkley. Chase and Jordan Mason for Drake London and Judkins. Chase and Jordan Mason for Drake London. Give me Drake London and Judkins all day long. Not even close. Because London can hang with Chase. I want Chase more, but London can hang with them, and Judkins alone can hang with them. You got two players that could literally hang with Jamar Chase. That is exactly the definition of how to do a 2-for-1 trade. because it doesn't matter if Chase blows up, you break even. If Chase doesn't explode, you win the trade. The worst case scenario for you is you break even. That's the way you trade. May or Hurts. Hurts for me, but May is certainly in that bottom of that tier at minimum. Hendy or Kittle in the flex. Kittle's safer, but then again, is he? Is he going to be regulated to blocking now that their offensive line and injuries are striking up and down that roster? And we've seen Kittle disappear for more than a game. He's been absent for years before, where he blocks and he becomes a blocker. I'd probably still lean Kittle for safety, but Hendy, if we get, I think this is going to need more news. If we start hearing news about workload, Ramondre's out, workload's going to increase, or we hear something negative, I think we got to wait on that one. And Super Chat, Hunt, Harvey, Waddle, Hall for McBride and Judkins. Hunt, Henry, Waddle, Hall. Wow. Hunt, Henry, Waddle, and Hall for McBride and Judkins. I think, your team depends. You kind of need to know what your team is. We got Aaron dropping 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Aaron. I think your team, how much all these different players help your team matters. If a couple of them are going to the bench and you're just getting a rotation that you got to sit a bunch of guys, I don't know that I like this trade then if we're looking at it like that. But if all these players can help you, then I like it. But McBride and Judkins in a surplus environment, I'd rather have that and get rid of the surplus. But I think it really is kind of team dependent. But I would say that neither side's lambasting the other. Silent Partner, Stafford, London, Buka, Judkins, Chase Brown, Tyler Warren, JMO. Upgrade possibilities. Thoughts on Jennings for ETN? Jennings who? Jawan Jennings for ETN? What is this Jawan Jennings value coming from? Everybody talk about would you throw in Jawan, or is that too much? Jawan Jennings for ETN? I don't think you can get ETN for Jawan Jennings. What are we doing back here? I don't understand this. Did I get knocked out, wake up, and Jennings has had like the monster 3-week stretch that I don't know about? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand it. So yes, ETN, if you get that, you have a screaming steal on your hands right there. London, Buka, Judkins, Chase Brown, Tyler Warren. Like this team a lot. The only thing I'm even considering is I don't want to sell Hendy, but if the price is right and you could sell Hendy and Worthy for like one safer, secure running back, Jacobs, Javonte, something like that, or even like an Adunze at wide receiver, or Garrett Wilson, like those guys are really nice additions. Past that, I'm not too willing to move anything. I really like your squad. It comes down to JMO, Worthy. You get ETN though. Now you got another piece. ETN and Worthy for something. You could go Jacobs or higher. You could go. You could maybe get. You could maybe get Nico. You could figure it out. I think you could get a nice little one player upgrade using ETN and one of those wide receivers. So definitely do that ETN trade. And if you got to give up a little bit more, you do it. Jennings shouldn't be getting you ETN. Smitty, I got offered Kyron for ETN. ETN's in everybody's trades tonight. I take Kyron and I run. Lamar, Saquon, Bucky, Brees, Rice, Pickens, T, Debo, JMO, Franklin, McBride, thoughts, waivers, Loveland. I definitely like Loveland in the trade value he gives you and the opportunity to, if you needed to, move like Debo, McBride for one wide receiver like JJ or Nico or something like that. T. Higgins and Loveland could also maybe get you a Nico, believe it or not, something along those lines. And if I could get out of Bucky, depending on your record, if you're like 7 wins, I'm fine waiting. But if I needed the W, I would certainly use Loveland or McBride, or pick up Loveland and use McBride to try and maybe move out of Bucky. And if that means that you're doing a good 2-for-2 you love, then you do that 2 for 2. Obviously you could take McBride if let's say the Warren owner had a running back that made sense. You could go downgrade McBride for Warren. I'd even strongly consider seeing if what the Bowers owner has, and if you could trade McBride for Bowers, downgrade, because the whole chat was littered with McBride over Bowers now. Tyler Warren over Bowers now. Everyone was regulating Bowers to tight end 3 or worse after tonight's game. It was crazy. But Loveland will give you some flexibility to maybe look into moving just Loveland. And I know he's on waivers, so who's going to trade for him? And then if you can't do any of that, I'm fine keeping this team. This team's unbelievable. Would I trade Pickens and T, or Debo and T, or D and Debo and Pickens for one wide receiver upgrade? Absolutely. Not a lot of players fit that bill, but Garrett Wilson, Buka. I like Adunze a little bit more than Debo and Franklin, for example. Debo and Franklin, or Debo and Loveland, Debo, Franklin, Loveland, and you get an Adunze, something like that. Just a nice, reliable, in my opinion, going forward. I think he'll be reliable. Silver Rapture with the $5 hauler. My boy Silver coming in strong tonight. Silver says traded Rashad White, Debo, and the Texans D to the Bucky owner for Gadsden, MHJ, and Singletary. Rashad White, Debo, and that's great. That's an unbelievable trade. I lost Kraft, lap time, or veto police. Veto police, more so than lap time. That's a great trade, bro. I'm surprised that person did that. Brissett's going to bring MHJ back to life, we think. And even if he didn't, even if you just got Gadsden for Debo, Rashad White, and the Texans D, you still crushed the trade. So you got 2 opportunities to win that trade. DJ, you're live.
Best show on the planet, Smitty. Let me say this, right? This is a safe place. I started Harvey as well. Harvey is my guy. And I didn't think really twice about it in terms of just thinking that there was some momentum. The only choice I had over him was Kamara. So, I went with Harvey. But it's a safe space. And, and I say that because if you guys are listening, and those who are participating in the chat, in the Patreon community, especially on the game days, we talk about these things, and we talk about the whys and how we made decisions. So, best show on the planet. And if you haven't joined the community, you should join the squad. But I wanted to say this in terms of the Harvey JK situation. Same thing. We're kind of seeing that in New England with Hendy and Stevenson. Someone made a comment that they think that J.K. Douglas is better than Harvey. You think that because of the way this is true, but again, you can kind of look across the league where these veteran running backs are getting these carries. Of course, top of mind is New England, Hendy and Stevenson, barring Stevenson injury. So, Harvey, but what's more puzzling about Denver real quick is just that I think that Harvey could coexist. So I really don't understand what Peyton is doing, because he's always had.
Let's be fair. Let's be fair, though. Yeah. Let's back up and just say, did Denver move the ball enough? No. So it's if they moved the ball enough, they would get more opportunities to give everybody. Nobody did well because they didn't have any production. But let's remember that Harvey had 3 touchdowns last week. So it's been like
exactly.
Give and take. Here you go, Harvey, and then now I'm not going to give Harvey. So I will say, though, 5 TDs in the last 3 games prior to this game was pretty solid. We were getting what we wanted. It just there's nothing you can do when. I mean, I blame Peyton for not having a better game for more production overall. Because if you're not moving the chains, this punt, nobody's doing anything anyway.
That's what was puzzling to me, So I didn't question it in terms of my reasoning for starting Harvey, in particular with what I had, behind him. And that was just what was puzzling. One more thing. Bowers, I don't care. It's a non-issue. Look, Denver's defense is no joke. Kelly is not the best OC in the league, but Bowers is just simply that dude. You don't have Jacoby Myers anymore. Was it Trey Tucker?
Yep.
Tucker's your supposed number one at wide receiver, but Bowers is the number one there. Problem is, Genty. Is he going to be another Barkley? Because they have to build that team. It's great to have the shiny new toy, i.e. Genty, Bowers, and they shouldn't even get a quarterback. Keep, in my opinion, keep Geno, bring somebody else. You just need a bridge because they're not there yet. You know what I mean? And
I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong for next year. I hope you're wrong for next year. I want Genty to be relevant right away, but I don't know.
Well, Genty's still going to be good.
I think they.
That's my point.
Think they need to bring in. I don't want them to keep Geno at all. I want them to bring in a quarterback. Like look at Dart, for example. Look how impacting Dart is right away. Dart has less weapons than Geno has, by far. Like right now, I'm not saying you had Neighbors and Scatterboo was pretty even, equivalent in a way. But you have way more weapons for Geno, and he can't do anything. So I think that there's a world.
To the OC. Yeah.
I'm just saying. I think there's a world where you aren't waiting, and I think you could break if you bring in the right quarterback. You start from that, and there's enough. If you can give the one thing I've learned over the 20 plus years of doing this, offensive line is one of the most difficult things to predict because of what they've done in the past. Because it all comes down to whether you have a quarterback that's got a quick release and a quarterback that's stretching the field and a dangerous arsenal that is making the defense step back. Because you're not blitzing or crowding the box or doing all the things you're doing with Geno right now if you've got a gunslinger back there. So I do think the Raiders have a team capable of being night and day different from the jump just by getting the quarterback. But who will they get? Will they just trade for a Kyler Murray in the offseason? Will they go after some sort of, mid-tier bum?
Bring in Shador.
I don't want him
Bring
to
in
bridge.
Shador.
I don't want him to bridge.
Bring in Shador.
I want them to trade up to the number one overall pick and just fix this once and for all. But we'll see.
Good point. Point taken. Fair enough.
I wouldn't mind
the best
Shador
on the planet.
I wouldn't mind Shador.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Shador over other options, but I don't know, man. I don't know if the Raiders are smart enough. I mean, Tom Brady's in helping make decisions, and why in the hell aren't good decisions being made? Maybe we got to look at this as a patient game. We all want Genty to blow up and want Genty to be the number one running back in the league.
That's what it is.
And it's gonna take sometimes more than 1 year. We're a little bit of an impatient people. If they get to
in terms of Travis, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think this year is looked at by like the front office and Brady and even Pete Carroll as a loss. I think they brought in Geno, because they know he can bridge the gap for a few years, which maybe he can at this point.
They paid him a lot. They paid him to be more than the gap, though, which is crazy. Like, why would you pay Geno Smith when you paid him? That's the problem.
Right, well, that's the problem.
What's his contract?
Going year to year with some filling.
Yeah. Let me look at his contract.
Geno is looking set. He's lost his fast gun, but I do think the OC is in large part a problem. And I was referring to Genty like Barkley in terms of just talent. I think Genty's still going to do his thing. It's just, I think he'll do his thing regardless. I mean, look at what he's doing, this year with what's out there. So
they can get out of Geno.
Yeah, Geno's contract isn't
What's
that
that?
bad, actually. His contract is
see the dead cap?
It's a $58 million this year, but so next year it's $18.5 million dead cap. The out is 2027, but they can get out in 2026 if they wanted, or they just keep him like Kirk Cousins. They draft a rookie And they they could trade for Shador certainly, or trade for Kyler, but they probably wouldn't trade for Kyler with this contract. But if they probably will cut Geno or keep him and draft a rookie, and then they'll get rid of him the next year. Yeah, that contract's not as bad as
I don't know enough. And I don't know
Aiden
enough about
O'Connell.
this year's quarterback class. So,
All right, anything else, DJ?
No. Other than that, I appreciate it. Best show on the planet.
Gotcha.
About the community.
Thanks, man.
Later.
Appreciate you. Later. We had a little delay there. I just go ahead, Travis, real quick, and then I'm probably gonna get these super chats out and then jump out of here.
Yeah, just two quick things. TM42 on that trade where he was at London and ETN, he said he does have two, so it's a no-brainer. Then I think he said it was London, ETN for Barkley and Flowers.
I didn't say it was a no-brainer yet. I said, but then we have to have another conversation because now it feels safer. I don't know.
Okay, he has two.
Yeah. Okay. So now I think we need to talk about it.
London ETN for Barkley and Flowers.
London ETN for Barkley and Flowers. London and ETN for Barkley and Flowers. I think, man, I still want to bank on Barkley. I don't know why. It's close. I mean, if ETN had a better matchup this week, I think I'd be tempted. But I really believe Barkley's going to... This is like one of those games where he's going to wish he did it and just had Barkley. But I don't know.
The thing I'll say about ETN as well is there's only 2 green games left on the schedule. All the rest are, like, I think, middle of the pack or better in terms of, like, difficulty. So he's got a bad schedule. And I will say Flowers, he's averaging like 13 PPR points per game. So Flowers isn't going to drown if you do that.
Yeah, I think I believe in Flowers about as much as I believe in ETN solo. Now, he's got Tootin, but we could play the game of you get the best of both worlds by just having Tootin, and then when it falls apart, you got everything. But I believe in ETN solo about as much as I believe in Flowers. Just because of the fact that Tootin is, he's starting to get more work, and ETN looks good, but, at times he doesn't. And
they're both 13 points per game.
Yeah.
Same points per game.
I think I'm taking Barkley. Real quickly, Zay Flowers or Michael Pittman Jr., you have to go Michael Pittman. It's not even close, even though we're talking nice about Flowers right now. Pittman's a top 5-6 wide receiver, bro. Like, we're 9 games in, heading into the 10th game, so you got to respect that. I'm not saying he finishes 5 or 6, but I think he's playing well enough to stay in the top 12. He's got such a lead to get to that, at least 11 to 14. That's a good receiver. Zay Flowers, you're hoping to get top 15 wide receiver value out of him. I don't think he'll finish that high, but you're hoping to get that from here moving forward. I think Pittman outscores that by a lot. 3 and 6, one of my leagues with Bucky. I can move him for ETN or Swift. Man, all these ETN questions tonight. It's crazy. I can move him for ETN or Swift. Marks MHJ, what are you thinking? If I'm moving Bucky, I'm getting what I said I wanted you to get for the last 3 weeks, which is Dowdle, Jacobs, Henry, Barkley. And if you can't get players like that, then it's pretty much too late to move them. I think you start going and getting Swift. And, I mean, ETN and MHJ is interesting, I suppose, if you had Tootin. But I don't know that I would do it. I think at 3 and 6, maybe you have to, but if you could get me Tootin, make sure I have Tootin, ETN, and MHJ, I might do it. But I'm not happy about it. But at 3 and 6, I could understand it. But if you don't have Tootin, I'm not doing it. And I'm just trying to get a different player. Like Rico was attainable last week. He's not this week, probably. Full PPR Musgrave versus Philly or Juwan Johnson. Probably Juwan until we get, a little bit more signs of life from Musgrave, I think. 7-2. What did Musgrave? What did he do? Like,
he was all right. He had
3 for 34,
like 4 for 50 or something. 3 for 34.
3 for 34. I need more signs of life. 7-2 PPR. May, Gibbs, Vidal, Hampton, Benson, Monangai, London, AJB, Tet, Diggs, Franklin. Any trade upgrade suggestions? I like the team a lot. I think I'm trying to move like Diggs and AJB, Tet and AJB, Benson included into that, Vidal and Hampton and AJB, Vidal and Tet, Vidal, Hampton and Tet, Vidal, Hampton and AJB, Vidal, Diggs and Hampton, Benson, AJB, Diggs. Like any combinations of that to get the JJ, the Buka, the Nico, the London, the Henry, or the Barkley.
You take Rico for Bucky, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I've said that for 3 weeks, and I think that window's closed. There's still a possibility somebody isn't up on the news that Rico's looking good, and they're still just panicked. Like, we've had a couple people that are in the know. They watch this channel religiously, and they've asked me in a question, Smitty, should I sit Rico this week in case, in case what? Like, they're counting on him to play. He would need a major setback in front of our eyes for him not to play at this point. And there's still people that are panicked about it. So there's an opportunity, I suppose. But my guess is the window is extremely closed for Buck. And same thing, Jacobs and Javonte might be the last hope you have of swapping out Bucky for now points because you can't wait till next week. And maybe even next week he doesn't come back. But you start getting past that point, like ETN, I'd rather just wait on Bucky, because what if ETN against Houston gets you 4 points? And now you could have waited. Now you could have waited. You might have been able to plug in a player better than ETN this week. And then you got Bucky coming back next week. I don't want to mess with that with ETN. But Javonte, maybe. Jacobs, probably do that for sure. And then above that, Rico, Henry, Barkley, Kyron, Achan, all those guys are worth more than Bucky just because it is what it is. And thank you, Danny, for the question. Hopefully you're able to turn some of that, at least 2 of those players, into something. And let me get these 3 out of the way, Travis, and then I'll let you close out what you want to say. Start 1 tight end, Musgrave, Taylor, and Njoku. Probably Njoku as long as he's a go. Taylor's not bad either. They're about the same. Trust your gut. Chat, vote Taylor, Musgrave, or Njoku. Taylor, Musgrave, and Njoku. Please vote at least 5 or 6 votes on that one. Add to last one. Brent, I don't have your super chat up anymore. I got, hopefully this doesn't relate to it. I got Rice, Bijan, Puka, Buka, Higgins. Make sure you ask the question in the super chat. Like, your other super chat's long gone, my boy. I'll try and find it here on the way out the door. Let me see. I might have it here. I think I still kept it on the screen here. Hunt, Henry, Waddle, Hall. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. For McBride and Judkins. Add to the last one. So Rice, Bijan, Puka, Buka, Higgins. Bijan, Puka, Buka. Puka. Why has everybody got Puka and Buka the same? Puka, Buka, Puka, Buka. Higgins, Rice, Bijan. So you'd have McBride and Judkins. So Judkins and Bijan. Puka, Rice, Buka, McBride. Yeah, you're in surplus mode. I'd rather have Judkins and McBride in your... Well, damn it. Henry. You know what? Give me the... I mean, my thinking is that you already have this surplus side. If not, I think I do take Henry, Waddle, Hall, and Hunt. And I think I'm try and move like Waddle and Hall for a wide receiver like Nico or whatever. And then I've got Henry and Nico. But then again, that's almost just as good as McBride Judkins. Damn it. Travis, do you think it's just smarter for him to have Judkins and McBride for this lineup?
I
I think I do like Judkins and McBride more. Close.
Maybe with that lineup. I was going to say, Bijan, okay. Those are BJ,
If you can
right?
turn
Bijan.
Hall and Waddle, keep Henry, Hall, Waddle into a wide receiver that is Nico-esque, Buka-esque, I think I may do that. But if you think you can do that, but if not, I'd rather have McBride, Judkins.
You have Henry and Judkins pretty close.
Yeah, I probably would waver a little bit if asked which one I want. I think I've been asked that a couple times tonight, and I lean Judkins, but then I kind of almost regret saying it, and then it's pretty damn close. I would say Judkins because
Got a great schedule coming up. Schedule's greenlit for the next month.
just a little lean a little bit toward Judkins, just a little bit. Just showing love. Benson news. No Benson news yet. Paul, appreciate you dropping the super chat. I'd probably say we'll find out something a little more concrete, hopefully next week. But I don't know that I trust Gannon at all, because he's literally telling us that Kyler needs 4 to 8 weeks instead of 4 to 5. They're putting him on IR, and there's video footage of Kyler looking healthier than Brissett out on the field. Running around, stepping back, planting, curving, twisting. I wouldn't believe Gannon at all. So, I don't know. It's ridiculous. Dynasty traded Rico and Pickens for Rice. Thoughts? I'd rather have... Well, I think this is Dynasty Rice. Yeah, 100%. I'm sorry, I wavered for a second, and then I'm processing Dynasty. Rico is 28 years old in June, I believe, of next year. So he enters next year at 28. Pickens I love, but you might be in for an injury-plagued season. Why? Because he'll probably hold out. Why? Because Jerry's not smart enough to lock him down. Probably tag him. And it'll be a drawn-out process, a lot of drama. It'll be fun. We'll have a lot of live streams about Pickens, but there could be injury that ensues. Or even if not, I mean, just take Rice. Rice is just much better dynasty pick. And then last super chat, thoughts on Brees rest of season. Volatility, my boy. Think of what you just saw tonight out of Genty and Bowers. You will get that kind of highs and lows from week to week, ups and downs, roller coaster ride. Brees Hall ain't no consistent roller coaster ride moving forward. I can tell you that right now. But he'll have some great shots of glory and some happiness along the way. But there will be some ups and downs, unfortunately. But I still think he's a top 12 running back potentially. Dynasty PPR tight end plus tight end. You mean tight end premium, Jolts? Is that what you're trying to say here? In win now mode and in first barely. Trade Travis Hunter for Javonte and Waddle. Travis Hunter for Javonte and Waddle. I take Javonte and Waddle in a heartbeat in Dynasty or redraft, especially redraft, but that goes without saying. But look, Javonte still got, I don't know, he's revitalized, I think. I can't imagine they don't want him being the starter next year. I couldn't unless he totally falls apart or gets hurt. And Waddle alone is going to rival Travis Hunter at this moment. And the Miami Dolphins came out today and said that Waddle's their future, their new, quote, new, unquote, future. So you got to take the Dublé side there. Not a question. What were you going to say, Travis?
Javonte's only 25. Like, Javonte has wear and tear because of the injury, but he's still got a couple years left in him.
It feels like he's 28, huh? How do you start Sutton after this? I don't know. I don't think you lock him in. But Vlad, I think it will depend on what it is we're debating. Like who are you putting in there? Are you putting Dobbs in? Are you putting Golden in? Are you putting Trey Tucker in? I mean, there's a lot of questions that would need to be answered before I could tell you never start Sutton again or start Sutton again. I still like Sutton. I'm not excited about his consistency. I don't know what's in store for him. But as a wide receiver 3, I can think of a lot worse situations that I actually have in a couple leagues, as a second flex or whatever. Travis, anything else?
Just two quick things. One is Pat Bryant. I don't know if you've been watching. He seems to be developing like really nicely. So like probably not a lot this year, but in terms of dynasty, he's not a bad stash or trade a late pick for him or something.
Yeah, he had two
really
targets.
Good.
Yeah, 2 targets tonight to 1 catch, but led the team in yards with the 1 catch, 43-yarder. He definitely has. He's been linked a lot to being Sean Payton's Mike Thomas. And if anybody remembers Slant Boy, he was unbelievable. So it's a good comp in a way, and he's not necessarily doing anything that Mike Thomas did. He's, able to get vertical, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he becomes. I like him. I mean, we liked him a lot in the offseason. Kind of disappointing some of these rookie receivers like Thornton in LV, especially with the current situation now. Can't get enough looks, and he was such an exciting prospect. A lot of overhyped rookies this year. I don't feel like that is necessarily something to run away from, like I've said before. I think that the solace we'll have this offseason is the rest of the world will run away from them for us. And so if we get a little bit, Smitty, you need to be a little less high on rookies, I don't think we'll need to be. I think we'll be able to walk straight into a much lower evaluation process and clean up without having to do any reaching at all. So we'll see. Real quickly, Travis, last thing, and then I got to get to these, and then I'm going to jump.
Yep. Just a quick trade question. I had, would you trade Stafford and Bijan for Josh Allen, Tyron, and Buka?
Stafford, Bijan for Josh Allen, Kyler, Tyron, and Buka. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Stafford and Bijan is probably equivalent to Josh Allen, Buka, in my mind. So you get a Kyron out of
Allen. Allen, knock on wood, is probably more durable than Stafford. Is always a little worried.
Allen's side to the moon.
All right. Thanks, Smitty.
All right, Travis, appreciate you. Later, bro. All right, I'm going to close the phone line. I'm sorry, everyone. I know some of you want to call in. Casio, chance to obtain CD or Kyron from a 1-8 owner. I'm 3-6. My team is Darnold, Flacco, Gibbs, Jalen Warren, Chase Brown, Spears, Waddle, Buka, JSN, Allen, Andrews, Fannin. If I was to go get CD, you're going to have to give Chase Brown. There's no way. Chase Brown and Waddle for CD and something small. I don't think you're getting Kyron and CD for Chase Brown and Waddle. I'm not a moron. And I don't know that I want you to give up Buka or JSN or Gibbs. If this is me, I'm overpaying him Waddle and Chase Brown for CD. And I feel like you got to give him like Jalen Warren even. I do that. That's what I'm going to do, Casio. I think that's a smart move. Or Jalen Warren and Waddle for Kyron and something maybe. But I think you can get that for C. You're giving him 2 players, and Chase Brown's pretty attractive. And they're both kind of on the rise, the players you're giving. So Hurts, Chase, Jamar Chase, Buka, J-Mo, Pierce, Bijan, Vidal, Hendy, Harvey, Marks, Tyler Warren, Gadsden was offered Gibbs and Lamar for Jamar Chase. Gibbs and Lamar. I would take Gibbs and Lamar for Jamar Chase 1,000 times out of 1,000. I mean, bro, I like Gibbs more than Jamar Chase. You can give me Lamar too. Also, Gadsden for Adunze. Bro, you have Tyler Warren. These are both league-winning moves. You do these moves, you walk straight to the bank. You show them your team on a napkin. And then they start telling you, let's walk you over to the banker. Let's set up a business account because you do business for a living. And it's called fantasy football trading. Forgot to say I have Kyron on my team also. Even more glorious, my boy. Absolute smash. 12-team PPR. Just traded my Garrett Wilson and Gadsden for Bijan. Home run. New team. Bijan, Judkins. Not even fair. Henry. CD, London, Ladd, McBride, Fannin, defense, New England, Smitty approved. More than Smitty approved.
You've just
More than Smitty approved, my boy. Hunter, if he returns. Not even much to even tell you to do, bro. I love all 3 of your running backs. I love all 3 of your wide receivers. The only way you would trade one is, like, let's say you were to move London down to Nico or Buka or Adams. Then you sold high on that. Could you move Ladd up a little bit or move Drake May up to Josh Allen or something? Then sure. Can't do that. I don't want to do anything. Drake May. Yeah, that's it, bro. London, if you could trade Drake May and London for Josh Allen and like Nico, Buka, or Adams, like something like that. That's the only kind of thing I can even come up with. Everything else, I don't want to touch it. Drake May into Mahomes, Drake May into Josh Allen, but we're talking about using only London, and only using London if you can downgrade him into a monster. Just a quiet, sleeping giant, Nico Collins or Adams kind of monster, a Buka monster. I don't even think there's many other players that fit the bill that even qualify. So that's why I say your trade is a select group of players at best. There's not much else you can do. Your team looks great. It's probably an 8.9 out of 10. I very rarely ever give 8.9s. Guys, appreciate all of you. Kind of a crappy game. Kind of a crappy live stream in a way. You guys make it great. It's still fun to vent. Still fun to take phone calls. Still fun to try and improve teams. But of course, it does suck to come in on a somber note and bad play. You got a bunch of fantasy football players that don't drop much at all heading into a week. It kind of puts a damper on the week. And then you got bye weeks on top of that. And then you think about Sunday being a little light because you got bye weeks. You got a London game. And so you got so many games ripped away from the morning slate. So now we've got less players that can do well. So Sunday could feel a little dry. Hopefully we have 4, 5, 6, ballers from the show that can bring the thunder and try and overperform for what will be kind of a lighter slate of games. But you know what you can always do is draft for week number 10 on a fresh underdog week 10 only squad, or draft the fourth quarter, which is the final 4 weeks of the fantasy season only on underdog using promo code Smitty, play 5, get 100. It's an awesome contest on underdog where you literally draft right now, called fourth quarter. So it's going to last for weeks. The drafts will stay open for weeks as they start, accepting people to draft the final 4 weeks. We got plenty of time before it starts. So the drafts will take a while, but it's, I think $5 or $7 per entry. It might be $5 to $7, $5 to $10. And every draft you do, it's a normal 12-man draft. It looks just like it did back in August and July. And it's not the small drafts like the weekly drafts. These are the big 12-player drafts. And you go 18 rounds. It just feels like you're back in August again. Those are the most fun drafts, the full 18-round draft. And, but you're drafting just for weeks 17, 16, 15, and 14. So you have to look at the bye week in week 14. It's so fun. It's so fun. The strategy's through the roof. Everybody's in play, but you have the potential bye weeks, the injuries, everything to consider. And again, it's week 17, 16, 15, 14. Championship week would obviously be 17. But you're drafting just for those 4 weeks. It's called fourth quarter. You can find it under the originals tab on Underdog. We'll draft tomorrow night with that contest. And don't forget to get on over to the Patreon. The Gunner link is in the description as well if anybody wants to get a pair of Gunner.
The Gunner Player of the Week.
Brought to you by Gunner.com.
Trying to point to Judkins. Judkins is the Gunner Player of the Week. 15% off using code Smitty. That link is in the description of the video or on Gunner.com. Just use code Smitty to get that 15% off. But join the Patreon 24/7 live chat. Patreon. We're literally on there 24/7. It's such a fun group. And here is the link to join. Boom. There it is. See you all on the Patreon. Appreciate every single one of you. Santo squeezing in one more super chat, and it's a doozy. It's a $20 hauler. Santo, appreciate you cutting it close here, my boy. I almost hit that button. 14-man full PPR. Herbert, Rice, London, Bijan, Henry, Bowers, Brees, Tet, currently 2-7.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Thank you for that 20, though. Got offered Puka and Marks for London and Brees. Oh. Well, here's the thing is, like, you're 2-7. You might as well try something. And the only problem with this is, okay, so you have Henry and Bijan. You got London. You have Puka. You have Rice. Do it. Do it. I say do it, Santo. London and Brees. I almost want you to get a different player than Marks, though, but I'd probably just say do it. Get Puka, put it in your lineup. You got a oversaturation. I don't know how that team, just worst luck ever. But your team is probably the best team in the league right now. Like that team, Chad, am I wrong, or is this not probably one of the best teams you've seen in a while? Herbert, solid, but Rice, Puka, after you make the trade. Bijan, Henry, Bowers, Tet McMillan. I'd say go for it. What do you have to lose? You're 2-7 with what you got. Might as well shake it up, and you're getting Puka, who arguably could be a top 5 overall player. Everyone's saying take that. Do it live. Already have Henry. Would you trade Debo and Jennings for Flowers? Other wide receivers, Puka, QJ, Dobbs. I would probably rather have Flowers. I take the gamble on Flowers, my boy. I can't guarantee Flowers is consistent, but I can guarantee you that they're going to try to make him consistent. And I think he's their number 1 wide receiver. I think he's going to do rather well. He started off the season really hot, if you remember. I would take the gamble. I think he's pretty decent. I think I'm not even worried about, he's an automatic start in my flex spot. Even if he had a bad game this coming week, I still start him week in and week out. Because eventually he'll come around. He'll have those games. You don't want him on your bench. The moment you sit him, the moment he'll go nuts. I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. I'm live whenever big news breaks, and I'm live at midnight Eastern almost every single night. And we're live after games to recap games. So that means after Thursday games, we go live. After Monday game, we go live. After the Sunday afternoon slate of games, we go live. We go live before the morning slate of games. We go live after the Sunday night game. We go live after Friday games, Saturday games. Whenever there's a game, we go live after. But more importantly than anything, the flagship show is that Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. And then live when big news breaks. See you tomorrow, I'm sure at some point, for a live breaking news show. Because, yes, we go live when news breaks. I'll see you all later. Appreciate you.